Hello and welcome everyone. Have you ever found yourself depressed and received antidepressants from your psychiatrist in response to that, and then wondered how you could make music that fits to the emotion of this medication? In this video we are going to talk about that, but from a compositional point of view. So we all know there are minor chords, like in this case A minor, and major chords, like here A major. The minor chords are sad and the major chords are happy. But the thing is, some antidepressants work like that. They don't just make bad emotions less bad, but also good emotions less good. So all emotions go more plain. They got flattened to the center. It's like when you're using Melodyne to absolutely flatten the vibrato of something so that nothing is below and nothing is above the note that should be sung, and then it sounds super robotic. And the big question is, what could be the equivalent of that musically, like from a compositional point of view? And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So here we have my plugin Xen in 24 Edo. Because what we are going to do now is we will explore the so-called neutral chord. So here we have an A, just like in A minor and A major. And typically, in order to write an A minor chord, you would go 3 semitones up, 1, 2, 3, and then you would write your next note, but go 4 pitches up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be a minor chord in 12 Edo. And if you go 1 higher with this, then you would have a major chord. However, we are now in 24 Edo, so we have to go twice as far with each step. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 5. So this is now our minor chord. And this is now our major chord. So now we can explore the neutral chord, the one in between. What will this be like? Is this the chord of depression? Is this the chord of antidepressants, to be more precise? If you are depressed right now and take antidepressants and feel like this is the sound of your life, let me know in the comments. And if you feel like this is a big pile of nonsense bullshit, I would like to let you know that this is just banter, okay? So don't take it too seriously, please. Okay, so the neutral chord. Let's listen to it again. What kind of emotion does it invoke? I must say, to me personally, it is a deeply unsettling sound. Like in horror movies, you often have these disharmonic sounds that are like... And it doesn't do a lot to me. To me, it just feels like I'm watching another sound design video on YouTube of some dude who throws the spectral suit at his vital presets. But this, a normal sounding oscillator that is just a sine wave with a bit of saturation, but playing this chord is enough to give me an unsettling feeling. So this is a truly compositional technique to get a sound that has this uncertainty in it. Because, I mean, what is it? What is an emotion that is neither sad nor happy, that goes into none of these directions? An emotion that is truly neutral, that is just so inhuman that it has a feeling that is beyond my understanding. Alright, so now that we got the neutral chord basics covered, let's also try something more advanced. Like here we have 12 Edo, A minor 7, and 12 Edo, A major 7. And now we try to convert these to neutral chords as well, but neutral 7s. So first of all, we have to do the same thing here in 24 Edo that we did before, taking every note and go twice as far away. Like here we have 3 steps, and then here we had 4 steps, and this is 1, 2, 3. So now we have the 24 Edo A minor 7 chord, and in order to make this neutral, we have to go 1 up with this one. But now the big question is, what do we do with the 7? Do we keep it the way it is? Or do we go 1 up? Or do we go 1 down? I would tend to say we go 1 up. Because when we compare A minor 7 and A major 7, we also see that the minor 7-1 is on G and the major 7-1 is on F sharp, which is 1 deeper. So the minor 7 already has a tendency to go higher than the major one. So we could exaggerate on that in the neutral chord. If you know a lot about composing and you think that I'm wrong, then please let me know in the comments. I would like to see your perspective on that and hear about it. It does sound pretty neutral to me. It is really an extension of what we already heard before. And that would mean that the neutral major chord, or major in quotation marks, because the thing that makes it minor or major stays neutral, but this time we go down, you know, to indicate that this is closer to the major one. And now we have the major neutral one. If we went one lower, then we would be exactly on where the 7 is in the major chord, which obviously sounds too harmonic. So we could go even one lower to have the tendency exaggerated. You know, thinking about this, actually I think this would indicate that this is the correct note in general, because this could be interpreted as like the 8th, and this one could be interpreted as the 6th, I guess. So this must be the neutral 7th in general. Yeah, so now let's also look at A sus2 and A sus4. So here I chose to use a chord progression to make it a little bit clear what the function of these chords is, because you rarely just hear an A sus2 or an A sus4 in the wild without being resolved in some way. So I just came up with a little chord progression that resolves the chord. So now we have to convert this to 24 Edo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now this one, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Great, and now we want to neutralize this. So the first thing we have to do is actually taking this one, making it neutral. Okay, so we got the resolving chord be neutral already. And now the big question is how you can neutralize a sus chord. So let's think about it from the 12 Edo perspective again. We could go quarter step down or a quarter step up now. In the original chord, this was just the exact same thing. Okay, maybe then this should be the same here as well. Yeah, that sounds pretty reasonable actually for a neutral chord. I immediately feel a little bit less prone to kill myself. So now let's try the A sus4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so here we have the normal A sus4. Now we go down with this one to make it neutral. And we have to decide what's going on here. What's the musical function that we want to achieve? We want the upper and the lower note to be the same, but there is the sus4 that leads to the neutral thing. And I think, so we could either keep it the way it is, or we could go closer. If we went even closer, then it would not be a sus chord anymore, because it would just move from major to neutral. So we at least have to stay here. We could also go higher, but that's too high. That's just like going from a completely different mood. So this must be the sus4 equivalent of neutral. Sweet, it does ring something in my head. Or maybe I'm just listening to all this kind of stuff for too long already. Alright, so now you might be wondering, and this is the next step, as you can already see indicated by the track name here. What would be if you were neither an ordinary person nor completely depressed, but just somewhere in the middle, in which case you would want to use 48 Edo to compose your music, of course. So okay, let's find out what we would have to do now. Now we have to go twice as high with a minor chord to make it the same. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we have to do the same thing again. This should be 6 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this should be 8 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this looks awful, but it's still a minor chord. And now if we went 2 up with this, we would get the neutral chord. And now we can decide to just go 1 up instead, and we got the half neutral chord minor. So this is a minor chord that has been treated with antidepressants, but just very lightly. The pill has been cut in half so that you are still a little bit endangered of ending your life, while also being a little flat and actually quite safe. Yeah, that's what this chord definitely sounds like. I totally agree. And now we can actually make a difference between the major and minor chord again. We couldn't do that with 24 Edo, but in 48 Edo it's possible again. Because now, if we went up, this would be neutral. This would be major. So that means the major neutral chord is this one. It sounds happy, but also kinda insane. It sounds like you are kind of a maniac who is like laughing, but at the same time you can see the next thing you will do is getting out the knife and stab someone aggressively while still laughing. So now let's try the A7 minor. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, I have to change the zoom factor here so I can see all the notes. And now we got the A minor 7. And we try to minor neutralize that by going one higher and one lower with this one, I guess. And now we got the A minor 7 half neutral chord. Sweet. Let's go on with the A major 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. A major 7 in 48 Edo. And now we are going to half neutralize it by going down with the major and going up with the 7. Oh yeah, that sounds insane. Let's compare the minors with each other. And the majors. Really interesting flavor that we got here. Next up we got the Aces 2. This is going to be quite hard to figure out, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, here we got the A sus 2, and now we have to somehow convert this chord. Problem is we have to transpose it first. Like in 12 Edo we had to do it, go down here to make it work. And I think what we need to do now is go even further so that it lines up, I guess. It's kind of hard to tell. But all I know is that these two have to end up on the same point. So if they don't, then we just transpose even more at the end. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, I was right apparently. 6, 7, 8. Let's listen. Alright, so what we did earlier with sus2 in order to neutralize it is we went up a little bit, so we do that again. This would be the neutral one. And this is the sus2 neutral minor thingy. Okay, it sounds almost the same. It almost feels to me like 48 Edo 2-step, then it would be the neutral sus4. But we only go down one so that it's kind of high juice. Okay, what am I going to do with this one? I guess I will just put it here because they still have to line up. What? I can barely hear the neutral anymore here. That's very unusual. Now we have the major chord. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Alright, what was the procedure like? This is a major chord, so we need to go down, but just one step so that we are on the half neutral major chord. And this one, so let me think. If we went down, half neutral A sus4, which actually sounds more reasonable even though it is further away from the note that it resolves to. Even though we could consider going a note lower here. But then it sounds too much like it is just something that implies that we are going up from the major. which is not what we want. So this is definitely the Asus 4 major thingy. Okay, at this point it gets really hard to wrap my head around. As you can probably tell, I'm not like the typical composer who has learned this in university and all that. I'm just someone who really enjoys brainstorming about composition. So if you have a different perspective on all of these topics, then let me know in the comments. I hope you found this interesting, and I hope I could spark some inspiration to use one of the multiples of 12 Edo some more.